Hello, I had to re-record due to technical difficulties, but stuff still happened. So what's up? All right, hi, yeah, I had to re-record. I recorded the entire episode already and went to go edit it, only to learn that the audio was fucked up. This is my fault for trying to produce a show, but I'm gonna record again, and frankly, I'm very exhausted from all of this, so I'm going to try to record and get as much information across as I can, but it's gonna be shorter than usual. So, with that out of the way, we're at war again with Iran. I made a whole video about this separately from this recording. If you want to go see more of my thoughts on this, you can check it out. It's on YouTube. I can't include all of that information in this as well. The situation is changing too quickly, and there's not really a whole lot that I can say that won't just be irrelevant in like 3 hours. But for my general thoughts on that, I put up a video on YouTube yesterday, so go check that out. Let's instead talk about the Department of Artificial Defense. There are three key players in this story: the Department of Defense, Anthropic, and OpenAI. The Department of Defense, the DoD, or what Pete Hegseth wants to call the Department of War. They like to have contracts with private companies. You know how we dump untold billions of dollars into the DoD and often can't account for it? That money is going to contractors, privately owned corporations that just suckle at the teat of taxpayer dollars. It is not going well for me today, y'all. That's a power outage. That's a power outage. I'm still recording. I'm still recording, and I'm gonna go see if I can flip the switch, get the breaker, going down some stairs. See, this is again, it's my fault for trying to produce a show. This is genuinely ridiculous. I'm actively, oh my God. Not a particularly easy breaker to get to. Let's see. Did that work? I think so. As I was saying, I'm on my way back now, but we can use this time still. As I was saying, so the DoD, they like to pay private companies by way of contracts to spend all of our money to do like contracty stuff for the government. You know, building planes and shit, stuff that bombs children, stuff like that. All that good shit. And so they were having a contract with Anthropic, right? Anthropic makes Claude. Claude is a competitor to ChatGPT, which is made by OpenAI. My background lights have changed. Let me fix that. Good enough. So the DoD, they want to be able to use Anthropic's Claude to do military shit, but also they want to be able to use it to spy on American civilians. This has been made clear because Anthropic was like, we're not going to allow Claude to be used to spy on American citizens. And the DoD was like, that's a problem. Anthropic is known for having more safeguards in place than most other AI companies. They're not good. They're still a massive tech company making an AI and all that stuff, but like they're trying to make Claude be slightly more ethical. At least they have stated boundaries of what they don't want it to be used for, and up until recently, they were planning to not train the AI past a level that they felt that they could control. They're still pretty bad. But Anthropic said no. They said no to the DoD. We don't want Claude to be used for surveilling citizens and also for use on autonomous weapons. The DoD got big mad and labeled Anthropic a supply chain risk. That is a designation usually meant for companies that are in adversarial countries so that we don't depend on them during wartime. It's not really meant for like an American company. So now we have the White House trying to strong arm an American company to just do whatever they say. Trump actually went as far as to complain that the US government had to adhere to terms of service instead of the Constitution. Holy shit. While all this is going on, OpenAI is like, hey guys, we also signed a contract with the DoD. Here's the details. In their details, they were like, yeah, no, there's safeguards. They can only use ChatGPT for things that the US government says is legal. That's some real safeguards, my guys. So where we're at is that Anthropic is saying they're going to fight this designation, and we are in uncharted territory. This is, again, the White House saying, hey, massive tech company, do what we say, or we're going to cut you out of the entire government. Being labeled as a supply chain risk means they can't be used by the government or other contractors. It's a huge loss. Ultimately, this could lead to a court case that decides a lot about the future of the relationship between the US government and private corporations. And of course, it's happening under a Republican administration. I'll end this by saying that literally hours after the White House was like, no more Anthropic, they used Anthropic's stuff in the attack on Iran. Make of that what you will. Let's talk about Netflix and Paramount's heated rivalry. See what I did? Setting the stage, we've got Warner Bros. Warner Bros. Wants to be purchased because they're failing, and they want to be bought by anyone. They don't really care who. Netflix swooped in and was like, we want it. We'll take that. And after they did that, Paramount was like, but we wanted it. So Netflix and Warner Bros. Have been working towards an acquisition agreement, and Paramount has been trying to outbid Netflix this whole time. Paramount is run by the son of Larry Ellison, who owns Oracle. Well, owns. He's at the head of Oracle. Larry Ellison is in Trump's circle, hyper-conservative oligarch at the head of a tech company. He's exactly that kind of guy. And as a reminder, the Ellison family either owns or has direct influence over CBS, Paramount, and TikTok, among a whole lot of other things. And now they've come in and successfully pushed out Netflix from this deal. It now looks like Paramount is going to be getting Warner Bros. If this goes through, one family would have sway over CNN, HBO, CBS, Showtime, Nickelodeon, BET, Comedy Central, and Viacom, just to name a few. All the while, Netflix shareholders are actually pretty happy about this. There was a lot of concern about all the problems that Netflix would have to go through with regulatory hearings and stuff. So after the deal broke, Netflix stock skyrocketed. What's more is there was a clause in the contract between Netflix and Warner Bros. That if they went back on the deal, Warner Bros. Would have to pay Netflix nearly $3 billion as a breakup fee. I feel I'm owed $3 billion as a breakup fee for several breakups. But Paramount, being this level of thirsty, offered to pay that money. So Paramount paid Netflix the breakup fee to get away from Warner Bros. Which means that essentially Netflix was just like, we'll buy Warner Bros. And then didn't buy Warner Bros. And got $3 billion and a stock price increase. So well played, except for the whole Ellison family owning everything ever. DraftKings. I only fuck with Wraith Kings. I have no idea if Wraith King is meta or not these days. I haven't played since 2018. Valve Software, the company that makes Steam, which is the biggest gaming platform on the planet, is being sued by the New York Attorney General. Letitia James, you may have heard that name before, is suing Valve over loot boxes, citing that it is a gambling practice targeting teens and children. For the non-gamers out there, allow me to explain loot boxes real quick. Loot boxes are a general concept in gaming where you get an in-game item that's like a locked chest, and you can only open it with a key. Keys usually cost real-world money. Not a whole lot, but a couple bucks maybe. With a key, you open the box, and inside the box is some kind of in-game item, usually a thing that gives a different look to something in the game, often called a cosmetic. In gamer terms, they're called hats. And the output of these boxes is randomized and usually weighted. So there's stuff that's more common and stuff that's more rare. And so this creates a bit of a market because you can usually trade these items between people. Now, this gets really messy because it's not super cut and dry, but when you have a system that can peg sort of an input currency by way of keys to real-world money, and then have a market where things have values and can be potentially gotten like a slot machine and then traded for real-world money, it gets wacky. It's also hard to say that this wasn't in some way intentional when Valve has a long history of hiring world-class economists to plan out in-game markets. Do I think that Valve is intentionally being nefarious and evil and is trying to do gambling? Not necessarily. And they've made some concessions and they've changed some things over time, like whether or not you're able to purchase and trade keys. So while it's pretty easy to portray this as not much different than opening up like a booster pack of a trading card game, some other countries have already labeled it gambling. Belgium and the Netherlands already call loot boxes to be gambling, and Dutch players of Valve's game Dota 2, they're able to actually see what item will be in the box before they open it. That said, if you don't like what item is in the box, you can't get a new box unless you buy it. So you still have to buy the box to see what the next item will be. So it's not great. Ultimately, there do exist platforms where people do like underground trades on all this stuff, and you can make quite a bit of money. I've had a pretty valuable Steam item in my account inventory for years, and I'm constantly getting people trying to scam me out of it. So are loot boxes gambling? Probably not. Are they a good consumer-friendly thing? No, definitely not. Is there regulation for it? Not really. Should there be regulation? Probably. What kind of regulation will we likely get? Probably something along the lines of like, you must take a picture of your genitals and send it to Jeffrey Epstein before you can open loot boxes. That's probably what we'll get. Lightning round. Last week I talked about how the DoD shot down a party balloon. Well, this week they shot down a drone operated by our own Border Patrol. Here's the weather. The first ever fiber optic undersea communications cable is being retired. after 37 years. They're yanking it up from the floor, the ocean floor. According to the Wall Street Journal, US citizens have left the country in record numbers over the past year. Tech company Block, which is owned by Jack Dorsey, the guy that made Twitter originally, and they run Square, they are laying off about half their workforce, 4,000 people. I just want to say that Jack Dorsey has a long history of maintaining his aesthetic, and part of that is not capitalizing letters in written messages. And that includes the letter laying off thousands of employees. I'm not one to get hung up on these kinds of semantics, but holy shit, that is insulting. And finally for today, an anonymous donor in Osaka sent a whole bunch of gold bars worth about $3.6 million to the city with a note saying, "Fix the pipes." Fucking legend shit. That is all I have for you today. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know in the comments below what you are going to demand gets fixed with a whole bunch of gold. My name is Endeavorance. We'll talk again soon. Take care and be well.